Good morning. This is the Plains World Podcast, where conversations are worth hearing and seeing. You can watch us each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And for more information and past episodes, you can visit our website, which is behind me, plainsworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, coming to you from my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week we share positive news and uplifting stories about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Audrey, Kopp, and David Doersch. And guys, you can wave to all your fans and friends who might be watching this. Okay, that is Audrey and David. And we're very excited to have them on board because we're going to be talking about an exciting new play that's coming to the Asheville area in just a couple of weeks, I guess. And before we talk about the play, I should mention that Audrey Kopp is an Asheville playwright whose play, The League of the Scarlet Pimpernel, will be performed by the Montford Park Players in August. David Doersch is an actor, director, fight director, and author. He is also the director and fight choreographer for the production of The League of the Scarlet Pimpernel. And before we talk about the play itself, let me ask you both, the first time I meet you, is in terms of getting into this whole business. If I can, Audrey, you grew up as a kid where?
I grew up as a kid in Iowa.
Okay. And when you were growing up as a kid in Iowa, did you always know you wanted to be a playwright?
No, not at all. I was lucky enough to get into theater a little bit in my junior and senior year, and I was really behind the scenes at that point. It was more just for me, it was more of a social thing. I was in one act play. I am naturally soft-spoken. Let's just say it didn't go so well for me. And so it was a number of years before I decided that I wanted to do anything to do with the theater again.
The thing I always ask about the one act play, for example, what was the name of it? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Because I had this great idea for a fundraiser. I think I've given it to John Russell at Montford,
Yeah.
but we should get everybody together and they recreate the very first role. So the one act play, do you have a record of that anywhere?
Just in my brain.
Okay. But wouldn't that be cool that you could get to play it so you could show other people
Ooh.
20, 30 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
your first show? And so you're in that one act play. You then stayed out of theater for a bit. What got you back into it?
So, funny story. You know how during COVID we were all doing what we could do just to stay
Right.
sane? And one day I had this thought, what would be super cool? Stage combat. That would be super cool. And I actually went down this whole rabbit hole of like doing internet research and things like that to see what was offered in Western North Carolina. And let's just say there wasn't a lot unless you were involved in a theater program at a university.
Right.
Promptly gave up on it, moved on with my life. So now we're past 2022. Things have started to get back to normal. And I see an advertisement that the Montford Park Players want to start a fight club. So come on in, we'll teach you about stage combat. So, needless to say, I was there in a heartbeat. And then a little bit later, after we had all gotten some training, probably no big surprise, they announced that they wanted to do auditions for the Three Musketeers. So Rodney Smith was directing that play, and he had a vision. He wanted big, he wanted bold, he wanted that stage covered with people, every single scene. And so I tried out, and I believe I was Soldier One and Soldier Two and Guard One, and I got to die three times every night.
So that
And
guy.
so exactly. So it was great fun. And then the following year, another play by Montford Park Players was being put on Treasure Island. And that was basically an adaptation done by a local playwright. And this time, David was the director. And so that was also great fun. And so got to do some more kind of fighty things in that one. Not much, but a little bit. It was great. And then after that, I was in Henry the Fourth, and David actually allowed me to have a quarterstaff in my hand, and I got to go and run screaming across the stage, scaring people half to death. It was awesome. And then this last season, I was in the Merry Wives of Windsor, and sadly, I did not get to do any stage combat in that because it's not that kind of play.
And you mentioned it because I'm thinking out loud with you that your Montford does seem to have a lot of plays that involves stage combat, And in terms of all the local theaters, they're just about the ones who are doing most of it, almost every scene. So that got you into Montford. David, let me ask you the same kinds of questions. As a kid, you grew up where, David?
Well, I grew up, had the benefit of moving around a bit. I grew up first in Los Angeles and then moved to the Midwest for high school and then moved on from there.
And
I was involved in theater a great deal in high school, and then I went on to major in theater in college, um, and quickly found stage combat as a place where I had a particular affinity, and started traveling around the world training with the great masters. And before long, folks were traveling to study with me, which was fun. And so then I've spent about 40 years traveling all over the world, choreographing fights or directing shows or doing the things.
do you remember your first play you were ever in?
My first play in high school would have been My Friend Irma, which was a truly dreadful play from the 1950s, and a farce that was probably should have long ago been set aside in the library shelf somewhere. But
So no
uh,
no stage combat in that one? There's
I had to do a comic stair fall. So I had to come in and slip and fall and come down a flight of stairs. That was my entrance to the show every night, was me falling down a flight of stairs.
So now, since then, do you prefer acting, directing, other stuff? What's your favorite thing you do?
That's a great question. I, I've done a variety of things in theater. As anyone who works in the arts, if you work in the arts, you're going to have to wear lots of hats and just get used to wearing lots of hats. I enjoy them all. I have to say, directing is probably the most fulfilling for me. But I will always have a soft spot for choreographing violence and doing swashbuckly sword fights and whatnot. That's a great deal of fun for me. But yeah, I enjoy it all. I spend a good deal of time in the booth recording audiobooks, which as a narrator, which then for me becomes very much that's my acting, getting my acting enjoyment out.
It's funny, David, you mentioned that because I'll ask a lot of actors or performers what do they prefer, and I oftentimes say directing, but they don't tell the truth because the truth is they don't have to memorize the lines that way. So
Right, right.
um, director has to memorize everything. But so you've been doing this now for a bit of time, and so now you do voiceovers for books and stuff.
Yeah, I do. I do audiobook narrating. I My wife and I have a small business where I get to do one man shows on a regular basis, and that's all deeply deeply satisfying.
Okay. And again, the other advantage to one-man show is that if you screw up, nobody else will know but you. So the one-man show, you don't have to
That's
worry.
right. That's right.
Exactly. Just you there. So let me go back to Audrey then. In terms of this particular show, as a kid, did you used to watch those kind of films in movies? I used to love them. So, people, pirates and people fighting with swords. Did you used to watch that, Audrey, as a kid?
I think I was just a little bit too young for that. But I will say one thing that, not surprisingly, given the name of this play, in the 80s, there
Right.
was, I believe it was a made-for-TV movie that was, I think, done in the UK called The Scarlet Pimpernel. And it had Jane Seymour as the lead Marguerite. And who doesn't love Jane Seymour?
Right.
But I remember watching that play, or no, I'm sorry, I remember watching that movie a number of times. And it was just amazing. There's this great fight scene where Percy in the final battle is got his foil out and he's literally popping the buttons off of the vest of the bad guy. And so it was just amazing.
Now,
So
did you watch that film before you wrote this or as
I
you were
did.
writing it? But you
I
did?
did.
So
Long
it
time
did give
ago.
you some ideas. And David, the same token, do you know the movie or have you ever seen the movie? David?
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. Now that you're mentioning it, Audrey, I'm remembering. Oh my God, I remember that totally. That was terrific. Yeah, I grew up on Scaramouche and Captain Blood
Okay.
and all of the above, and it was one of my great joys in life was to go and work with a gentleman by the name of Paddy Crane, who was He was Errol Flynn's stunt double and fight trainer, and we all went and I trained with him for years, and got a chance to bring some of that old Errol Flynn magic. Feel touched by that. It's quite lovely. But yeah, I grew up on all that stuff.
Because you mentioned it, I just finished the audiobook of Flynn's life. It was fascinating, and I loved it.
Yes.
And then I also
Which
was
one?
on.
You mean More Champagne, Darling? Was that the name of it?
No, it was not the autobiography. It was part of the autobiography. I forgot the exact name, but it's fascinating. He lived quite some life, and then
Yes,
after
he did.
after I heard the book, I then went back and saw about 10 Flynn movies in a row. So all great, fight scenes and stuff like that. Have you ever done
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
ever done, have you ever done movies as well?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got a chance to work with Steven Spielberg on his film Lincoln. Um,
Okay,
I had the great honor of being the Spielberg's office reached out to me. Apparently, someone in his office had seen my work and thought that I was the right guy for this scene that they needed at the end of the movie Lincoln. And so I got the phone call and I got to put it together and rehearsed for about a month and sending videos back and forth to Steven Spielberg every day for his approval and all of that. And then eventually we filmed it in Richmond, Virginia. And it's right at the tail end of the movie. The little boy, the son of Lincoln, goes to see a play. And while he's at the play, his dad and mom are at Ford's Theater where Lincoln is shot. So in the film, I'm on the stage. I'm portraying the genie, doing this state, doing the sword fight on stage that the little boy is watching, and then we get interrupted with the announcement that the president's been killed.
very cool. I'll have to revisit the film and look for you in that thing. But you
Yeah,
mentioned
it's just the last 30 seconds or so of that sequence.
Don't Blink, but you mentioned Flynn though, but his films were so great. They had all these films with like hundreds of people, and this was before AI, where they had all these people on horses, and it's incredible. They did it, but
Or on the masts of ships and everything else. Yeah.
good stuff. So, Audrey, back to you then. So what gave you the idea to write this particular play?
It really, I mean, not to belabor it, but it literally came down to stage combat because I was just thinking, what would be fun to do, fun to learn. And at that point, I hadn't done anything with the quarterstaff yet. And so I thought, well, what would be something that would be fun to do with a quarterstaff? And in my mind, quarterstaff and England, Robin Hood is all kind of like linked together. So I started to go down the path of something English. And that's when I remembered the Scarlet Pimpernel, which admittedly is more French than English, but
Okay.
here we are. But it was written by and the book, the original book, I believe, was published first in England. So yeah,
Now, did you read the book?
yes,
Okay,
there's actually many books. So Baroness Orczy
right.
was the author of the original book, and even before that, she wrote a play called The Scarlet Pimpernel. And then the play was extremely successful. And after its run, she started to write these stories. And so the first one was called The Scarlet Pimpernel. And then after that, she wrote, and I apologize, I think it's 15, but don't quote me on that. I think she wrote 15 more stories about the Scarlet Pimpernel and the League of the Scarlet Pimpernel. And they are great fun. And what's also great is because of the time period that they're in, the ways that C. Blakeney, who is the Scarlet Pimpernel in the books, the way the escapes he uses and things like that, they're simple. It's not like, he writes some code to like blow up a mainframe computer and then he hops into his Ferrari and screams away. It's I have to get out of the situation. How do I do it? Oh, here's an idea. I'm going to take black pepper and I'm going to put it in the snuff box of this man who loves his snuff, and I'm going to offer it to him. And he's going to feel so smug and think there's no way that I'm getting away. He's going to take that bit of snuff and put it up his nose. And so now while the bad guy is sneezing uncontrollably, Percy can escape. So that's not in this play, but that just kind of gives the idea of there are simple things that can be brought to the stage that I felt like would translate really, really well. So some of the same characters from the Scarlet Pimpernel are in this play, but there's a lot of different characters as well. And none of the ideas that are in the play I lifted from any of those stories. It was
Well,
more just I wanted inspiration.
well, one of the exciting things listening to you is the fact that after this one play, there could be another 15 more after this. Yeah. Are you just going to be, is this going to be your whole thing, Scarlet, the rest of
I
your
don't
life?
know. What do you think,
You're going to
David?
keep us busy.
How busy are you?
Well, David, let me ask you the same kind of question back to the play itself. Had you been familiar with it or the movie, or had you seen it, read it, or did you go back and read
Oh,
it?
sure.
No.
Sure. I did not go back and read it. I wanted to approach the script with a clear mind, an open mind. But yes, I had seen the original Scarlet Pimpernel movie long ago, and then I saw the one with Jane Seymour also long ago, but not quite as long ago. So I was familiar with the concept, but I was really looking forward to seeing what Audrey, having worked with Audrey on Treasure Island, I was eager to see what she brought to it. And I have to say, this is such a fresh adaptation. It's such a lovely approach, very very female forward, very much finding it's a Scarlet Pimpernel for the 21st century.
Well,
It's lovely. It really is lovely.
well, let me ask you this in terms of being a director. Do you recommend that people, for example, see a film or read a book before they do it, or should they come into it fresh without knowledge of it?
I honestly, for this one, I would say just come and enjoy the show. It stands on its own and it doesn't need any explanation. It's not like going to see an opera that's in Italian where you have to study up before you see it or anything like that. Or even some of the works of Shakespeare, people like to read it before they go see it. Not necessary in this case. In this case, it is a romp. It is a complete romp. It is just fun from the moment it starts right on through. It plays very much like well, in this era of Marvel movies and other superhero films, it has that sort of quality to it. There's nothing, you know, none of the characters are super per se, but it is very much it's got that that feeling of we're bringing the team, Justice League or whatever. We're bringing a team together to go fight evil, and that's what they do. It's absolutely delightful and just a sheer fun adventure from start to finish.
I meant also, though, as an actor, do you recommend that actors should see or read something before they act in it or come into it fresh?
Oh, so if you're going to be playing a role in a show, I don't recommend seeing another actor's interpretation of that script. It's good to read the script. It's good to read other and do dramaturgy work where you know what's been done with the show, and maybe you watch snippets of someone else's interpretation. But it's all too easy as an actor to accidentally lift what ideas some other actor has had. It's great to bring your own insights and the insights of your production to the show. So not really. I other than read the source material, sure, but don't see films or listen to recordings of it.
And if I can go back to Audrey, we've kind of talked a little bit about the show, but if I can put you on the spot, Audrey, and ask you to give kind of the Reader's Digest version of the show and keep it down to like 20 minutes if you can. No, just
And then
no, like 3 minutes.
And in chapter 17, we
in
find that
chapter 17, yes.
No, but what's it all about?
So the play takes place during the French Revolution, and very specifically during the time of the Great Terror. So the idea is that there were people in France who were doing great things to make positive changes politically. They wanted to do away with the monarchy, they wanted to bring a democracy. And unfortunately, what did happen in France, and this is my interpretation of history, is things really went off the rails in a very, very bad way. It just got a little bit too bloodthirsty, if you ask me. Certain people said this is what's going to happen, and people did it, and it did not go well for certain people. So what this play is about is we're in this time period where we're during the time of the Great Terror, and there is this group of people that said, this isn't right. This is not what we signed up for. We are here to bring democracy to the people, and that's completely gone away. So now, because we can't do anything about the way this is going, what can we do to help the innocent people that are being sent to the guillotine and really should not be sent to the guillotine? Enter the League of the Scarlet Pimpernel. That's what they do. They save people from execution by guillotine. And what's specifically happening in this play is that the a character who is in I'm sorry, I'm just going to call him the bad guy, who is trying to bring down the League of the Scarlet Pimpernel. He comes up with a diabolical plan to lure the League to Paris so that he can try to capture them. And part of this plan is basically hitting very close to home by arresting two people that are very near and dear to the hearts of two of the main characters. And so, of course, they have to go save them. And so the play is essentially, this is how they are being saved.
And David had mentioned it before, but this almost does sound like a Marvel comic book movie, that have,
Yeah.
and so it's not just one person in the league. How many people are in the league? Is there a set number?
So theoretically, and you don't really see this, there's a lot. But I would say for what we're talking about, there's like a 6 people that are really league members that we see in action, thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
And,
more.
and so David,
I think 7 is probably closer.
I think you're right.
7 to 9, somewhere in there. But there's 5 primary, and then we add, there's a few extra hangers on that are great.
And so they all get their own secret handshakes. They all get their, or costumes or something belonging to this league.
Yeah, there's no secret handshakes.
There is the decoder ring, but that comes in the box of Cracker Jacks.
Okay. And so David, talk about putting the show together. So in terms of, you've been working on it for how many weeks now?
We've been going for 3 weeks, and we've got another 2 before tech. So I made this rehearsal period a little bit longer because of the number of fights. There's so many fights, and there's 2 fairly detailed dances that are in the show as well, that are very fun. I just saw one of them last night. Our choreographer had said it a few days ago, and I came in last night, got a chance to see it, and oh my goodness, it is delightful, absolutely delightful. If you don't leave with a smile on your face, you're not alive.
And by the way, that's one of the great things that Montford Park Players often does, has these dance scenes, which are a lot of fun. Give a shout out. Who's your choreographer?
It's Christy DeVille.
Okay, she's
Christy DeVille.
So, wow, and that's something to look forward to. But yeah, just out of the clear blue sky, you see the dance scene, and they always put a smile on your face. So you've been working on this for now a bunch of weeks. When you were casting this, do they have to be good in fight scenes?
They have to. We look for actors who have an aptitude. They don't have to come in already trained, but the more training they have, or the more of an aptitude they have, the better. Just that gives us capacity to move on and do even more. For instance, the young lady that is playing the role of Alexandria, who is one of the lead fighters, one of the most engaged fighters in the show. She was my teaching assistant at Western Carolina, and she came in and absolutely wanted this role, and just was terrific, just ate it up. So she's going to be something. She's going to be a real feature for the show. The audience is going to enjoy that.
Who is that?
That's Clover. Clover is just a wonderful young performer. First time at Montford.
Okay. And so one of the things you do, which is to your credit in Montford, you have a lot of people in this show. There are, 18 people in this show?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And the age range of people and the actors what's the age range?
Well, the youngest would be 20, 21, something like that. And the eldest is 70, in his 70s. So everything in between.
Because one of the incredible things about Montford, they seem to sometimes have very big casts, and they always got a kick out of it, from young, a lot younger than 20, to up age. So when you're rehearsing this, and people don't necessarily realize this, uh, for 5, 6 weeks, how often do you rehearse?
So we're working Mondays through Thursdays every evening, and then we get together on the weekends to work the fights. So Monday through Thursday are stage rehearsals, and then Saturday and Sunday are fight rehearsals and dance.
So what do you have when it rains at Montford, especially rehearsals? What do you what do you do?
Yeah, that just happened to us last night. We were on stage and we had a big old thunderstorm roll through. So we just squeeze in underneath the
Okay.
the walkways and under the rafters, anywhere we can get out of the rain. And the cast keeps right on working on their dance steps or keeps right on working on their choreography or running lines. We just wait for the rain to go and then we go back out on stage and keep working.
And what's incredible, I've been in the audience, even if it starts raining in the middle of a play, it's I've never been to one that got rained out, but there've been some pretty heavy rains, and the actors just play straight through. Excepting I imagine, especially with sword fights, so you have to be a little careful with that in the rain.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's safety protocols for if the stage is slippery or if there's lightning in the area. Obviously, we can't have swords out on stage, but
And so, Audrey, if you would, John, we mentioned some of the people in this. David just mentioned one. Can you talk about who else in the cast, Audrey?
Yes. Two of the leads are Kat Martinuzzi. She will be playing the part of Marguerite Blakeney, and Jack Stanford is Sir Percy Blakeney. So they are a happily married couple. We also have the other kind of key members of the league include Colin Grew and Devlin Cole. And as David said, Clover Jade is basically the secret weapon that we have going on. And then we also have, as one of the leads, I would say, is Ben Means and also Carly Goober uh, I'm
Well, this is
Burdine.
calling.
That's her last
Okay.
name. Yeah, Carly Burdine.
So
Yes.
there are six,
yeah,
seven.
Carly Burdine.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's pretty. It's pretty ambitious crew to have this play. How long does this play run, time-wise? It's a 2 hour,
Uh,
3 hour.
it's under 2 hours. It's each half is about 50 minutes, 50 somewhere around 50 minutes or so.
Now you have me interested though, David, in that it's funny as I get older, I like shorter, and no, and some of the Montford
Yeah,
Park,
me too.
but some of the Montford plays they go quite long, so you got me excited about 2 hours. I like that, under 2 hours. Very interesting.
It's it's a delight. As I said, it's a romp. From the moment the play starts, we kick it off, and it's dancing and action and fun, and it just rockets through. And before you know it, it's like, is it over? We just got going.
Well, Gee, if you would talk a little bit about for the folks who aren't familiar with it, the Montford, where the plays are, and a little bit about the theater.
Absolutely. So the plays take place at the Hazel Robinson Amphitheatre, which is over in the Montford neighborhood of Asheville. And it is very close to the Avery Community Center, if people are familiar with that. It is an outdoor amphitheater, and it has been around for quite some time. I think we can actually really say that Montford Park Players is a local institution. This is its 54th season. And it's just a very lovely experience to attend plays there. You park your car and you walk down a path, and just kind of out of suddenly, this amphitheater is just suddenly in front of you. And so, because it is outdoors, the sun will start to go down and the fireflies start to come out. And it's just a lot of fun in terms of a place to watch a movie, or I'm sorry, to watch a play. Sorry. Um, and what people can do is we do have Adirondack chairs that people can rent if you'd like to do that. Or, like my husband and I, we will bring just camp chairs. People
Right.
will bring blankets, sit on the ground. It's a great place to bring a picnic. And so you can have your dinner there. We do have a wine and beer license, so we do sell those items at our Shakespeare Tavern, is what we call it. It's also dog friendly, so as long as you have a well-behaved dog, they can also attend. And so it's an absolutely lovely experience. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't say Montford Park Players is a nonprofit. And so what that means is what they do is they do not sell tickets. So when you're walking down that path, nobody is there asking for your money to buy a ticket or anything like that. And so really, anybody can come see the plays. There is no financial barrier here. You can just come and see it. What does happen during intermission is the actors will come out hat in hand, and if you choose to make a donation at that time, great. If not, that's quite all right as well. And so consequently, what that means is it's also a place where parents can use it as an opportunity to introduce their kids to theater. Because I can imagine, if you have a little one and you've just paid $35 for a ticket and here it is, it's 8 p.m. and you know what? I'm tired. I want to go home. That'd be a bit of a slog. But with this, kids are outside, they can play. And if it is one of those things that it just gets to be too much, take your kids home. It's fine. Come back again.
And should also mention at the website, I don't know if you have the website handy, but people can also, and they're invited to make a contribution if they want to support Montford Park Players.
Absolutely.
Again, nonprofit and incredible, no charge. And what a great way to expose somebody to theater.
Exactly.
Especially having to worry that you're going to have to leave after an hour, 2 hours, So leave whenever you want.
Right.
Let me ask you both that after the run of this, if I can ask David, do you have anything else in the works that you're going to be either directing or acting in or producing? Anything else, David, upcoming? Do we lose David? He may be frozen on us.
He may be frozen.
David? Well, I'll turn to Audrey then, and maybe we'll get David back in. Audrey, anything else after this one that you have in the books?
Actually, I don't have anything in the books. I really want to write another play. At this point, I'm still kind of surveying the landscape, and there's just so many ideas. Because once you start to write a play, then you suddenly see all these different possibilities. And so I would really love to write another play in the not too distant future.
So that'll be the kind of thrust as opposed to acting. Are you going to be doing that more than acting?
I think so. I would definitely not take acting completely off the table, but I will say that I've just so enjoyed writing this play that I think and again, all of us only have so many hours in the day. So if I were to choose which I enjoyed more, I would have to say writing the play I've enjoyed more than acting.
And let me ask you, just wrapping this up a little bit, in terms of the writing of the play, how long did that take you? And kind of describe your process. Like, did you get up every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning and write for 5 hours straight? How do you write it?
No, really, because I have a full-time job, it was really but more on the weekends that I had the opportunity to sit down and write. And I just really kind of came up with the idea and I thought, well, how do I want this play to go? I knew that there was going to be, shall we say, certain capers, certain, things that were going to happen to save the good guys from the guillotine. And so once I kind of got those in place and with the ideas of how I wanted those to go, then it was a matter of linking everything together. So it probably took me, I'm going to say maybe a year to write it. But what was fantastic is, as anybody would say, rewriting is as much a part of writing as everything else. And so what I was extremely grateful for is because I did have connections with Montford Park Players, I had the opportunity to have a couple of different stage readings last year. And then that would be an opportunity for these actors to have the script, to read it out loud. And then at another time, we actually had a small audience. And so people would watch what the actors were doing, reading the script out loud. And everybody would then give me their feedback. And that was amazing. It was just so incredibly helpful because when something's been in your head for so long and you've lived with it in your head for so long, you suddenly don't realize if something isn't entirely clear. Of course it's clear. I know this is clear. No, this is not clear at all. And you only get that when you have that outside perspective from other people. So that was just so incredibly helpful that I got to have that. And then too, with even having the play come up now, there's still times where, David and I will have a conversation where, he'll be like, this isn't entirely clear, or maybe something is just not landing properly, or we just want to move some things around. And so that's also given me the opportunity to refine the play even further through this whole rehearsal process.
So it has changed as you do it. It evolves over time.
Not major changes, of course, but just things that this makes sense to move this over here, or maybe that line is just a little bit more redundant. We just don't actually need it. there was one thing that David and I talked about where uh, it what I had written into the stage notes included an entrance into a building using a rope ladder. And we had this conversation, and he's like, from a safety perspective, this is simply not going to work. Oh, okay. It's not going to work. So let's figure something else out. So just things like that.
So I always give actors credit or directors as well to have to evolve or change it. So you work on such a way, and then all of a sudden it changes toward the end. Audrey, in terms of people getting information about the play, what's the best bet?
I would say go to the Montford Park Players website. So it's just Montford Park Players, all one word, .org. And also, not only is Christy DeVille our resident choreographer, but she's also our marketing manager, and she does an amazing job with our social media. So also, if you go to our Facebook page, if you go to our Instagram page, you can also find a lot of information, not only about this play, but also other things coming up at Montford Park Players.
And also, lastly, if people want to track you down or find out more about you, is there a way they can do that?
I would say you could definitely find me on Facebook, Audrey Herman Kopp, and uh, and I'm sorry, I just got a message from David, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get back on.
That's
So
okay.
yes, but or if people want to reach out to me because they'd like to read the play or they just want to talk about stuff, definitely my email address. And would you like me to share that now, or is that something that is shared in notes or?
Well, if you want to share it, that'd be great. Feel
Sure.
free.
Yeah, my email address is I'll say what it is first, and then I'll spell it out because it makes a lot more sense. It's the words, hey, y'all, it's Audrey at gmail.com. But there's dots between the words. So, hey, Hey, dot, y'all, YALL dot, it's ITS dot, Audrey, AUDREY at gmail.com.
I always get a kick out of when I see an email from you. It stands out because that's the only time I saw it. But anyway, Audrey, I'd like to thank you for being my guest on this edition of Blame
Thank
Troll
you. I
podcast.
really appreciate this.
I'd also like to thank David um, VAR for joining us. And I'd also lastly like to thank my producer, Kim Jones. Hopefully not hopefully, I will make an attempt to get to this play and it opens when again?
It opens on Friday, August 7th. I always have to double check because I get so paranoid that I'm giving the wrong date. It is opening on Friday, August 7th, and it will be on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays throughout the month of August, except for the last weekend when it will be on Friday, August 28th, and closes on Saturday, August 29th. There will be no Sunday show that weekend.
Okay, well, something to look forward to, and I will make an attempt to be there. Audrey,
Great.
thanks
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.